What is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time, late edition, but the same drill. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz hanging with me. I got my guy Kirkwood in the house. What up, Kirkwood? How are you?
I don't know, a little weirded out after you just told me that I was the last thought you had before bed last night. But
wonder if that would sneak its way in.
Yeah, other than that, it goes pretty well.
I take back everything I said. All the kind words, they're all gone. They're out the window. How you feeling about this slate, man? We gonna win some money or what?
Yeah, I like small slates, less work to put in. Yeah, we had a lot of news just jumping all of a sudden right now. So we just got all the news we needed. Brandon Ingram is out. So
We truly just got all of the news dumped real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Just the chat really enjoyed that start to the show. Thanks for that. You're on my shit list now. We also got my guy Jim in the house. What up, Jim? How are you, man?
How's it going, Roth? Good. Excited for it should be a fun slate. Like Kirkwood just said, we got a lot of funky news here at the last second. So hopefully that means ability to jump on stuff and put out some good stuff. So
great. Yeah, it's if you get a small slate and it's just like boring and there's no news, that's no fun, right? Then you're just playing like absolute trash. It doesn't feel right. But when there's a little bit of news, some moving parts, things tend to work out a little bit better. And that's what we're best at here. When the news breaks, we react, we pivot, we help you guys get those dollar bills at the end of the night. And that is the goal. Guys, it is Cyber Monday. Did either of you purchase anything on Cyber Monday? Jim, you could start.
I actually returned stuff. So I had a really boring Cyber Monday. I should have been better, but I'd purchased stuff. I didn't need anything. I got my shopping done already, actually. So I'm all set. I didn't do anything.
Wow. Way to be on the board. I have not purchased a single thing for Christmas yet, but way to show us all up. Kirkwood,
I just do it throughout the year. When I see something, I buy it and put it away, and it's
You're one of those. I'm proud of you, man. Wow.
That is the lab. I'm the exact opposite. This is my trick for every Christmas. I go to Costco on Christmas Eve, and I get something for everyone there. It's like you got like the books and or you can get like chocolates if you need it for like that kind of person, little
pack of steaks. I got you pack of steaks.
Yeah. Some Rayo's pasta sauce or something.
Right. Yeah. Get the good stuff only. The only reason I bring this up, guys, is because Cyber Monday means we have a great deal here at RotoGrinders. So if you haven't bought anything on Cyber Monday, now is your opportunity. I think you're going to like this. It is the last call for our RotoGrinders Thanksgiving deals, the final day of a massive site-wide sale that is happening right now. Offers are available for all sports, including here, $40 off your first month of Combo Pro and 50% off the NBA annual package. That is a huge deal. So $40 off your first month of Combo Pro and 50% off of the NBA annual package. Good stuff going on. Do not miss out on that awesome value. Highly recommend that you sign up now while you can, because by tomorrow, you can't. Offer ends tonight. That is the key. All right. With that all out of the way, make sure you sign up. You just go to rotogrinders.com. That's the easiest way to sign up, because I feel like multiple people will likely be signing up. Go to rotogrinders.com. You can find it from there. Let's dive into it, guys. Kirkwood, give me kind of a rundown. We were waiting for one piece of news. We got it. Do we now just dive into FanDuel now that we don't have anything to talk about, or you want to give me a rundown?
Yeah, I'll do the best I can. So we got a lot of news I'll just give you the rundown of the news that just got dumped. So basically the slate we've been waiting for news for the Celtics, because both Tatum and Brown were questionable, which would obviously be massive if they were both out. Unfortunately, they're both in. Derek White is in as well. He was questionable. But you are missing a couple of players in Holiday, in Porzingis, and Al Horford. Yeah, of course. So that does open up minutes for like Kata. It's not as good of a spot as it was going to be for him. It also opens up. Peyton Pritchard's been moving to the starting lineup, and I'm pretty confident, like regardless of how this game goes, he's going to be out there in the second half. So, and he's been chucking. He's been playing awesome. So he could have been a great play. He's still a very good play. Other than that, we've got Brandon Ingram is now out. The Brooklyn news all came in. They're missing a ton of players, and the last questionable one, who is like probably their best offensive player at the moment, Cam Johnson. He is out. So we've got a lot of value there. And then we also got Kobe White is out, opening up a little bit for the Bulls. And then Jimmy Butler is out for Miami. So we've got a lot of good value spots here. So no short of value.
You did not oversell how much is going on. I love this. This slate is going to be fun indeed. Jim, why don't you lead us off? We like to start on FanDuel. We'll work our way to DK, but tell me what we're doing at FanDuel, and you can just start a point guard if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. Point guard, I think, is the spot to start. When you say kind of overview, what jumped out to me was how deep point guard and like guard in general, but point guard especially, and the center spot is saying how weak the forward spot is. But I've been trying. There's so many names here at point guard. I'll kind of sprinkle some out. We do FanDuel point guard, we do FanDuel 2 guard, we do DraftKings point guard, DraftKings 2 guard. So I kind of have sprinkled them around. But the two that kind of popped to me when looking specifically FanDuel point guards, DeJounte Murray, kind of a little bit of a revenge angle here. He's going against a team that obviously kind of sent him packing this off season and has honestly looked better for it. But Murray is the type of guy, I'm not a huge fan of his actual basketball game, to be honest, but this screams to me the type of guy who would stat pad in a revenge game in what could potentially be a blowout. Atlanta looks a lot better than this version of New Orleans. We've got no Brandon Ingram, so that's even more usage for Murray potentially. His first time he's not on the injury list at all, so he's kind of fully back healthy against his former team. I think he is kind of flying under the radar in terms of ownership a little bit. But I'm intrigued by him. Then the other name on FanDuel I'm eyeing is Mike Conley. He's got pretty high ownership on both FanDuel and DraftKings. But I think that certainly if you're in a cash play, he's at 4,800 in both, and I think he's got a really high floor. He's been playing more minutes lately, and is in a decent matchup here against LA on a back-to-back. So I think Conley's got a really nice high floor, and then Murray, if you're trying to kind of shoot the moon in a GPP with not crazy high ownership right now, I think Murray's a really interesting play there.
I love what you said about Murray. I'm in. He's like the core of my build. I'm already that is now my flag plant. Just hearing you talk about him, fully in on that play. Kirkwood, what are you doing there at point guard on FanDuel?
Wow, I'm going to feed you a little contradictory advice.
No,
potentially. I'm just going to feed.
You don't want to play him?
No, he's looked terrible. He's coming off of injury. It's the second half of a back-to-back. However, his price is nice. We know the kind of player he is. And this is a revenge spot. So I'm conflicted. I think he could bust, I think, because of those reasons I said. I think he could go off because of everything that Jim said. So and I don't know the answer. I just wanted to give you a little
he's the kind of guy who he rebounds, he gets dime. It's not just I need him to score 35 points. He does other things. And I was just looking at his game log last game. He was 0 for 6 from deep. If he just shoots a little better and does those other things,
correct.
I love that price for him.
It's we've been waiting on a lot of those guys this season, that. It's a theme every show. And I'm just saying it may happen tonight, and he may crush. And it's also great for FanDuel. His price is nice. Stocks galore. Hopefully, if he's back, But just give him a little warning. He hasn't been driving much. He hasn't been getting to the line, attacking the hoop much, and his shooting has been bad. So, maybe he changes that all tonight. And I think his ownership is going to be down a little bit lower than what it should be because of the reasons I mentioned. So, I do like him as a play. I just there are reasons to not like him.
I think you want to be on the ceiling and know that there is definitely risk, like Kirkwood said.
That's correct. Yeah, that's a good summation.
Yeah. Okay. But what do you like?
Okay. Dennis Schroeder, good chalk. Going to be very chalky, but he's just been playing outstanding. He's going to be counted on to create shots for others and himself. This is a great matchup against the Bulls, so I'm on board with that. Tyler Hero fits the mold of someone who usually plays well against Boston. It's always one shot creator who can score and get buckets, who goes off against the Celtics, and it's never anything else. So it's just like Donovan Mitchell did last night. He's the closest thing we have to that in this spot. Again, it's playing the Celtics, who are a good defensive team, so I could see this one failing as well, but I think you got to chase the ceiling, like Jim was saying. D'Angelo Russell is now starting, and it's Reeves who's out, correct?
Yep.
Yep. And so he's in a good spot. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, always solid. Could have been a better situation for that, but I like him. I also kind of like Josh Giddey with Kobe White out. This Brooklyn game is, it's with a bunch of people out, is going to play much differently than the Brooklyn defense that we're normally seeing. So I like that. And then my last call, again, a prolific scorer, Shake Milton, in off the second unit for the Nets, who did well on Friday and scored 22 real points after I called him a prolific scorer coming off the bench on Friday night. Nice.
Way to throw that in there. I didn't realize he actually delivered on that. Jim, you said that this was just an overabundance of guards. You were not kidding, man. I'm trying to build my lineup and I'm already out of guard spots, and there's still more dudes I want to jam in. Kirkwood, we haven't even gotten to shooting guard. I assume there are some redundancies here, point and shooting, but what are you doing at shooting guard?
Yeah, let me give that and then try to fix my own lineup. Okay, so Keon Johnson, chalk Brooklyn, 4,100. I like it. He's just going to play a boatload of minutes. He can do a little bit of everything. He's good. They're going to need to take shots. He's played 32 and 28 minutes his last game 2 games ago on Friday night when they were down a bunch of people. Although Schroeder was out, but he had 35% usage. If you can have any type of usage like that and be 4,100, and he's going to get probably 30 minutes plus tonight, he's a strong play, even if he is chalky. Now, not so strong of a play. Okay, never mind. I was looking at point guard. I was going to say Mike Conley because he's projected to be kind of chalky. But Tyler Hero again, Ayu Dosunmu, Anthony Edwards. Love Anthony Edwards against the Lakers. And Zach LaVine, we got to mention, as well as Josh Giddey with Kobe White out. Okay. Jim, you got a few more names of shooting guard for me?
Yeah, I think those Bulls guards are both pretty interesting. Like Kirkwood was saying, with Kobe White out, both those guys pop a little bit. I think Giddey in particular, I'd be looking more towards. He just fills up the stat sheet a little bit more than LaVine. LaVine is kind of boomer bust with his points. He's not really filling up the rebounds, assists, the steals and blocks and all that. But the guy who I really want is the chalkiest play. There's a few chalk plays. Kirkwood already shouted Schroeder. I was going to shout him out on the DraftKings side. I think that's a chalk play I want. But the other one I really do want is Tyler Hero. The ownership is going to be really high. We see their projected ownership at 40%. But this Boston isn't the typical brutal matchup for Boston. They're missing some of their key defensive players, and they're especially missing Drew Holiday, who would have been the defensive matchup likely for Tyler Hero. Mm-hmm. With Jimmy out, Hero's usage goes up, his assists goes up, his rebounds go up, everything goes up for him with Jimmy off the court. And Terry Rozier is the other guy who I think a lot of people are going to be looking to. I'm kind of hoping that Rozier, it actually turns out that he is the chalk play and not Hero. I actually don't really want much Rozier today. He has not reached his full minute load yet, and he doesn't really see all that much of a usage jump with Jimmy off the court. So I'm kind of hoping that Rozier is the one that people gravitate toward because he's a little bit cheaper. I would much rather pay the extra, couple bucks and get Hero. I think he's really the chalk one you want to go with. I've got some of these names I'll talk about with DraftKings, but a lot of overlap with Kirkwood anyways. Keon Johnson and Tyrese Martin being pretty interesting spots here for the Nets as well with all the guys they have out.
When I'm looking for value, Keon Johnson at 4-1, how important is that value compared to what we can find elsewhere? Like, do I need to jam him in because we don't have value elsewhere and I just need to save the bucks?
There's definitely some value spots at center, but I do think you want to use if you're going if you're going to spend up on a couple guys, I think Keon Johnson, and I said, and Tyrese Martin, actually, that is not how I feel. Tyrese Martin, I actually think is a little bit of a trap, but Keon Johnson, I do think is the one of the Nets that you do want to go with. I do think he's a pretty good value, and you don't have a whole lot of value at the 3 and 4 positions. Mm-hmm. So I think you definitely want to get at least one cheap guard. And I think Keon Johnson is a pretty good one for that. And then you can potentially save a couple bucks at center as well, but there's also some really good high ceiling centers today as well. So I do think Keon Johnson's a guy who will end up in a lot of lineups for me.
Okay. I was trying to get in like Murray, Schroeder, Hero. And then I was like, wait, I need to probably save some money somewhere. Yeah. And maybe that's the answer. Okay. Very good. Take me to small forward, Jim.
Yeah, small forward. One more. There are a few guys who are chalk today, and I can't talk myself out of it. Trey Murphy with Brandon Ingram out. I like at this price with against the Hawks in a fast-paced, high-scoring game. I just can't talk myself out of Trey Murphy. On FanDuel, his ownership's actually a little bit lower. I believe on the DraftKings side of things, at least last I looked, he was maybe the highest owned player. He has the ability to play power forward as well. It looks like for FanDuel, he's got shooting guard actually in comparison to, I think on DraftKings, he's got the ability to play the 4. But I'm going to be all over him with Brandon Ingram out. He isn't shooting as well as he could have. And now part of that is, Kirkwood said, we don't want to always try, catch the falling knife. That regression isn't always going to come, but he's a guy who has a longer proven track record. He's coming back from a hamstring thing. So I think that's one where it's not like he's got a hand or wrist thing that might be lingering and bothering his shooting. I'm pretty high on Murphy in general. I've been intrigued even by Ingram. I thought there was room for both of them potentially even, but with Ingram out, it really is. I think it's really Trey Murphy's night. And I'll be using him probably at the 3 for FanDuel and probably at the 4 for DraftKings.
Okay, good stuff. Any other names you want to add in there, or no? That's your guy.
I think Duncan Robinson is interesting there. Jaylen Brown is, if you're going a pricier, if you find yourself with some extra costing, Jaylen Brown is a decent spend up. Tatum as well with those, a little bit more usage for them. But Peyton Pritchard is a guy who's going to come on and actually, he's from the bench. He's actually a relatively high usage guy, at least when he's leading the bench unit. That drops a little bit when he's on with the starters. But I do think for me, Trey Murphy, I'm kind of locking in at the 3 on FanDuel and locking in at the 4 on DraftKings because he's really a guy I want to be all over tonight. Okay.
Kirkwood, your thoughts at the 3?
All right. I like Anthony Edwards is one of my favorite studs tonight. Love him. Kind of like Zach LaVine. Although, I've been saying that every show, and you never really get what he's kind of like Chinese food. You're hungry afterwards. But I'm having I ordered Chinese food tonight, so I thought I'd slip that in. And people in chat, they know that because we were talking Chinese food before. So Tatum, obviously, Trey Murphy, I can echo that sentiment. I like him in this spot. Should just see a boatload of minutes, probably 30, up close to 35 minutes in this spot. Can do a little bit of everything. Jalen Johnson, awesome play in that game on the other side. Is small forward eligible, which is nice. Rui Hachimura with the Lakers a little bit thinned out. He played a boatload of minutes the other day, and I don't see that stopping. So I think 35 minutes is well within reach for him. He's only 5K. Jaylen Brown, and again, like Jim said, Duncan Robinson is interesting as well.
Okay. Getting some comparisons here on LaVine. Hammer says picking LaVine is like kissing your sister. I don't know about any of that, but he is a dude that I almost never roster. He's a tough click. He's like ordering Chinese food, whatever that means. I don't know, Kirk.
Well, no, it's like you eat a ton of food, but you're still hungry like a couple hours later for some reason.
It's the MSG, man. Yeah, I think it's the MSG. What are we doing to power forward, Kirkwood?
All right. Power forward is going to be some of the same names. It's going to be, first of all, Anthony Davis. He's my top stud. Anthony Edwards is the one I like a little bit below him. LeBron, you got to continue. If they're not playing AD, then LeBron's just been great. 9,400 seems completely reasonable. And Tatum. So this is where you've got a lot of opportunity cost at this position with these studs in good spots tonight. Trenton Watford is the cheap guy in Brooklyn. He's not going to see 30-plus minutes. He's going to see like 20 to 25, somewhere in that range, because they've been like capping him because he's been coming back from a hammy. And but he's a good fantasy point per minute producer, and he's cheap. 4,100 is fine. Jalen Wilson is probably the guy I'm least excited about on Brooklyn, but he will see the minutes, so that's fine. Rui Hachimura again, and maybe DeAndre Hunter.
Okay. We're going with a little beef and broccoli, a little General Tso's. What are we talking here, Kirk?
So of course, that's the white boy order at the General Gao's Chicken. It's like like that's a staple. We also got beef and mushrooms, which is like beef and broccoli, but just a bunch of different mushrooms. That same kind of beef and broccoli sauce. Got some egg rolls, some lo mein, and some vegetable fried rice.
Okay, it's a strong order. This is a
solid. Me hungry over here. Yeah, I'm like,
dude, and the thing is, it's for
orders like that.
It's for tomorrow too. It's always next.
Yeah, day. You don't want to pay the delivery fee and then only have it for one night. You gotta double up. That's a proper choice. Jim, what are we doing if we're ordering Chinese food, and what are we doing at Power Forward?
Honestly, I am really picky about Chinese food. I like it like Szechuan, like kind of that spicy stuff.
Oh, like authentic South. Chinese, not American.
Yeah. When I was living in New York City, I got spoiled, and now it's like I have to I feel like anywhere else in the world, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'll still do it, but like I just want a hot pot.
Hot pot is my favorite all-time meal. We have one that goes toe-to-toe with anyone in New York, anywhere. There's one in Boston that is so damn good.
Wait, where is it?
Right in Chinatown.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I approve, guys. I'm impressed. I did not expect this, but
hot pot is the best. Hot pot is the best.
It's really
okay. Jim, what are we doing? By the way, I've told the Szechuan Chinese food story here a few times. I may tell it again after lock. But Jim, give me your Power Forward thoughts.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with Kirkwood. This is where I want to spend up. I want to get AD a lot. In FanDuel, you can play him at the 4, which is really key because there's a lot of good centers available, and there aren't that many good players at the 4. So I think Anthony Davis at this 4, where there's not a lot of options here. Tatum as well is a great look. Watford, I agree with Kirkwood. I think the RG minutes there are a little bit high. I'd be surprised if he gets to 28. They've been keeping him on a pretty tight minutes limit. So I think if he's going to be if he's going to be nearing 50% ownership, I definitely want to, I think I'll stay away. The guy who weirdly keeps finding his way into my lineups is Julius Randle. I really hate it. I hate the vibes around him with that team right now, but it seems like at that price, he does, I am a Knicks fan, and it seemed like when he was in New York, every time you wrote him off was when he would have a big game. So this is very much not numbers based. It's very much vibes based, but he was going viral for his lack of effort the last game out there. Maybe he comes out and has a big game for 71. We know the ceiling for Randall is there against the Lakers team that really isn't actually all that strong defensively. But the AD of it all is, I keep going back to AD. He really smashes against Rudy Gobert. You'd think that against like one of the best defensive players in the league, he'd struggle. Yeah, exactly. But I think AD sees it the same way.
He can't cover like guys with like strong offensive games like Joker or like
exactly
AD. Anyway, yeah, they kill him.
And Davis really, I think, does not like him at all. That GIF, Hoff, is literally the background on my phone still to this day.
That's amazing.
What was the thing they always say? What was it for the Knicks?
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
I did one. I did like a version in Boston after we won. And I said I said something really bad about Kyrie Irving to like one of those influencers on the camera and everything. I thought I never saw it anywhere. I was so upset because what I said was gold. But I can't say it on here. But
yeah, thank you. Bing bong. Jim, if there's any more names at Power Forward, go for it. If not, take us to center position, please.
Yeah, I'll slide us over to center, honestly, because I do think that Power Forward for me is going to be that spend up spot. I agree with Kirkwood that Hachimura is an interesting. If you're really stuck, I think Rui is an interesting look at Power Forward if you're going cheap. But center, there's a lot of good names up here. So Vooch and Bam, they're both there with decent ownership, with pretty high projections. I think both are in really good matchups tonight. Bam, obviously, there's no Butler, and he's going against a Boston team that is without Porzingis and Horford in the front court. So there's a lot more ability for him to really kind of pick on a Boston team that you usually can't really pick on. They're still going to be solid defensively, you know that. But they without Drew, without Horford, without Porzingis, they're without a lot of their good defenders. So a team that I usually am scared off of playing guys against is a team that now tonight I might have Bam and Hero in my lineups potentially. So I think Bam's really interesting at his price. And then Vucevic, he's just so consistent. I think as a cash play, he's really, really valuable. I was looking at this earlier today. He's gone at least 4x in every game but one this season. and then he's gone 6x 6 times. So he really is like, he lives in this like middle range, but this just incredibly solid. And you can slot him into your lineup. You kind of know what you're getting. It's a good matchup for him today. So I think Vucevic is well worth. His price has been creeping up a little bit. He's a little bit pricier on DraftKings, so getting him for only 8 over here on FanDuel is pretty nice. Further down, Cornette should get some minutes with Boston's front court, a little bit thinner. I'm actually surprised his ownership is projected that low. But I think he's kind of the value on him and Keita. Keita's obviously getting the start. I don't think his ownership will be nearly that low once that news goes through officially. So I would guess that Keita draws the ownership, but if it's staying like this, I think either of those Boston guys are very viable as well. I even, again, I said this, the center depth was here. There's more names. I like Clint Capella. I like Yves Missi. I think, that's a game that's going to be pretty up and down, and both of those guys are pretty interesting. So center, you almost can't go wrong today, which is maybe a case for, getting one of the cheaper guys, but I do really like the guys at the top in Bam and Vooch as well.
All right. Cornette is starting. Is this dude going to take more than 2 shots, or am I going to play him? And like, does he have the ceiling to win you a tournament? I realize he's cheap and that's great, but is he just going to go out there and get me 15 points? And they'll be like, well, you did nothing for me.
I think that's the correct answer. I think, first of all, he's the one good defensive player on that court, and with Jimmy Butler out is Bam. And plus he's playing with all even higher usage guys with Peyton Pritchard in the lineup now. It's like everybody's a high usage player but him.
Yeah. I think wait, so we got that he's starting. I thought we heard that Keita was starting. If we end up, honestly, some of these guys are going to get more usage off the bench because now Pritchard's going to be more with the starting lineup.
Cornette is starting.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So I think you can make.
Actually, we have a whole new starting lineup. Now I'm seeing Jordan, not Pritchard, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jordan Walsh, Tatum, and Cornette, which is what I thought they were doing.
Walsh?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Or can we play
Walsh? Walsh sucks.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Is he like 3K on here? He hasn't played like at all. And with those guys, he's going to be the one who barely touches the ball.
So what they did is they want to keep Pritchard. They want to keep that second unit. He's just there. He's going to be running wind sprints.
Okay. Sorry if you're watching Mr. Walsh. Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Walsh. Apologies.
Love the Wall. He's funny. He's hilarious. Great guy.
Okay. But, not going to rack up the DFS points. Kirk, what are we doing in center? And then we got to kick it to DK. We're actually like 15 minutes from lock. I don't know how we did that so quickly, but that's where we are.
All right. You know who stinks at center, I'm going to say? Rudy Gobert. Like, the guy played 43 minutes the other night, could not score a single bucket in the fourth quarter to get his double-double bonus. That guy is dead to me. I'm just going to say that now. But he's actually in play tonight because he's 6,900. He's in play. But Nick Claxton is the guy. The minutes have been creeping up higher with him. It's just lack of bodies, lack of decent bodies in this great matchup against Chicago. He's only 5,600. So obviously AD is the best if you can get him at power. But you can also play him at power forward like Jim was saying. So that's why Claxton kind of makes that work. Vooch is also a really strong play. Like Jim was saying, he gets the usage bump with Kobe out, and it just makes sense that he should benefit from shots because there's like two shot takers on that team with Levine and Vooch now without Kobe White. So like him, Gobert, Bam with Jimmy out of bio. Wouldn't shock me if he's like if he ends up being in the winning lineup tonight on a 4-game slate. Those are the guys. That's about it. Clint Capella is too cheap.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. Let's kick it to DK. Remember, we do have our final Cyber Monday sale going on with RotoGrinders. $40 off your first month of Combo Pro and $50 off of the NBA annual package that's happening right now. Make sure you're signing up for that because literally it ends tonight. We do not have a Travel Tuesday deal. It is only Cyber Monday. Make sure you're having that. By the way, we only have 52 likes. That is mildly offensive. I feel like it's been a really good show so far. I think it usually is, but especially tonight. We also have an NFL show coming up right after this. Same stream. So we're not stopping and restarting. It's just we're going to bring on more guys. We're going to start talking NFL. So make sure you're sticking around after NBA lock as well. Guys, let's jump into a little bit of NBA, a little bit of DK, rather. Kirkwood, what are we doing at point guard on DK?
Sorry, I was trying to steal the time to fix my lineup again.
You were really hoping I was going to go to Jim?
Yeah, I was like, damn it. But I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so point guard position. Dennis Schroeder is probably the best play overall. Just in this matchup, 7,100. Guy's been beasting, tons of usage. Should be a great play tonight. Keon Johnson, although you can play him at shooting guard, I think he is important to play just because he flashed that massive amount of usage the other night. Everything I said before. He's even cheaper on DK. He's 3,500. So love him. D'Angelo Russell, I like at 4,400 starting now. Come on. At least we know he can, if he's feeling it and lighting it up from the outside, this 4,400, he could absolutely tear through. Tyler Hero, like him, gave my thoughts before. He kind of fits the mold of, shot creator, taker that Boston has trouble with when they do have trouble. DeJounte Murray, we talked about a little bit more expensive now on DraftKings, but still in play. Ayo Dosunmu with Kobe White out, minutes are just solidified completely, but he's also shooting guard position. And then Derek White, or actually, I was going to say Trae Young, but I kind of don't like. I think I would fade Trae Young tonight.
Okay, Jim, if you want to add anything at point guard, feel free, and then take me to shooting guard.
For sure, I think Schroeder is the one. I saved him for DraftKings. I kind of wish I had laid the hammer on how much I love him earlier on FanDuel, just because we're going a little quicker now. But I think even through the ownership, I'm going to be on him today, just because the Bulls against guards are truly terrible. And with Cam Johnson out, he's going to have so much usage. D'Angelo Russell with Reeves out is the other one. Both those guys, I believe. Russell is definitely point guard only. Schroeder's between the two, so I'll use that kind of transfer over. Keon Johnson, we talked about him already, and I do want to reiterate that Tyrese Martin is not the net that I would go for today. I think that he had that one huge game, caught everyone's interest, and outside of that, he really hasn't done a whole lot. And they kind of cycle through guys in Brooklyn right now to kind of see what sticks, and he can easily float out of the rotation just as easily. Peyton Pritchard, I do think just because he's not starting, that actually isn't the end of the world. His usage was going to be lower in that starting lineup. Now he gets to run point with the bench unit, and I think he'll have all the crazy usage and minutes he normally has in a game that I think will be a little bit faster pace without guys like Al Horford, who's maybe plays at a little bit slower pace, and Drew Holiday. So I think those guys are all interesting there.
Okay. Was that both point and shooting guard, or was that just point?
Those are point and shooting guard. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, Kirkwood, if you have anything to add at shooting guard, go for it. If not, take me to small forward.
Shooting guard, yeah, they're all the same names. I didn't say Pritchard for the point guard, but I obviously like them. All the same names. Only one I would add there, maybe unless Jim said it and I didn't hear so well, would be I love Anthony Edwards tonight. I see that Julius Randle is kind of popping, and he's kind of cheap, and so he could blow through it. But I like fading him and finding a way to play Anthony Edwards instead. And also CJ McCollum seems like the guy who would probably light up the Hawks the best with being able to take a bunch of shots from three. The Hawks are dead last in opponent threes per game. They just allow tons of threes. But that's it.
Okay, well then take me to small forward. I think is where we're at.
All righty, Jason Tatum for a stud. Jaylen Brown, one of these guys is gonna go off.
This forward spot sucks, Kirkwood. Like if you get in the mid range and you're not spending up, it is trash. Am I playing this Boston guy? Am I playing Hunter Connect? Like these dudes suck. I don't want to play
Trey Murphy.
Well, yeah, he's good. I got him.
So you play him.
This position sucks.
The forwards are weak today.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt your thoughts.
No, it's good to let it out, when you're upset. Dalton Connect, he's playing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and no Reeves as well. So
with no Reeves,
that's where I landed in that spot.
Yeah, if you need someone right there, like him or Rui are both solid options for the price, 4,800 and 5K. I think you could play. You could play DeAndre Hunter too at 5K if you wanted to. I'll say Zach Levine, the Chinese food special of the night, and then that's a bunch of the same guys.
Okay. Let's see. Jim, take me to power forward. I did not know it's Hunter's birthday. He does get a boost in my book. I have to now make another lineup and get him in. Thank you for that. Jim, what are we doing at power forward?
Yeah, they're really, like we were just saying, there's not a whole lot here. I think Trey Murphy, I want locked into most lineups because that. I will say one name that we haven't said yet that I don't mind is N'Keal Alexander-Walker. He's down around 4,000 on DraftKings and pretty low ownership too. He's stayed productive even as Mike Conley has come back. LA isn't a terrible matchup. They actually are not that great of a defense. And one thing I think is really important, he closed out the last game against the Clippers. He was on the court with that starting crew with Dante DiVincenzo and Jane McDaniels kind of being like sketchy here and there. I think Na is actually a pretty good pick for a really good bargain price at that. I think he 2-3 or 3-4 here. But either way, I think he's kind of a sneaky good option for tonight.
Yeah, he's 2-3. What else are we doing at power forward, Jim? What do you like there?
This is truly my least favorite spot. I was eyeing Sam Hauser. Now he's out. So that was the only other, that was like my cheap option. I think I'm just locking Trey Murphy here and hoping that he is as good as I am thinking he will be tonight.
Yeah. I mean, you look at this.
It's ugly.
Boy,
I guess Randall is again. Yeah, I agree with Kirkwood that Randall is like, vaguely interesting in like if you're really trying to shoot the moon, but like it's Randall, man. I don't really want to get there. It's pretty gross at the 3 and especially at the 4.
And you'd think you could get Randall at low ownership, but because he's really the only play around there, you're not. He might end up coming in at decent ownership on top of all of that. All right, Kirkwood, anything you want to add at power forward? And then you can kick us to center, and that will leave us with about 5 minutes for some QQs.
Yeah, we've got the rare double narrative play on the power forward for 5K tonight going on. And it's DeAndre Hunter. We got the birthday that Hammer mentioned. And then he's also mentioned this is also the Hunter pardon. So you got to play DeAndre Hunter in this spot tonight. So he's in play. And he's actually in play. He's solid, but
what was your second ridiculous narrative? I call it was
Hunter Biden pardon. The Hunter Biden pardon. DeAndre Hunter.
I was like, what are you talking about? Okay,
it took me
I'm not sure that narrative matters, but okay. All right.
You gotta search for any edge you can find.
Sure.
It's all the same guys, but this Trey Murphy, Jalen Johnson are probably the guys I use the most of, and then Tatum on the high end, and Rui Hachimura for cheaper, and DeAndre Hunter for cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff, guys. Hey, make sure if you're watching this and you're like, wow, that was incredible content. Those two guys are smart. You should hit us with the thumbs up, like and subscribe. We're just trying to get the eyeballs. That's all. Free show. That's ridiculous. And all that we ask is that you hit us with that thumbs up. Do you have some questions coming in? Make sure you are getting in those questions for me in the YouTube chat, because I'm a donkey and my computer broke and I don't have Discord on my wife's computer. So try to get those questions in the YouTube chat if you can. What do we think about Jaime Jaquez on DKs? 4,300. I landed there in like 2 of my 4 lineups. Is that terrible, Kirkwood?
No, I don't mind him. I worry about the minutes feeling with him. I think he's coming back from an injury too. But I think with Butler out, he should be solid.
Okay. Seeing what else we've got question-wise. Scrolling up, scrolling down, scrolling around. Has anyone mentioned Jalen Johnson? Jim, your thoughts on Jalen Johnson?
Yeah, Kirkwood gave him a shot at the end there. I don't hate it. It is a game that I'm eyeing in general. For some reason, I just wasn't landing on Jalen Johnson, but I don't hate it. I just think I would rather spend on different players in that game personally.
Okay, Jim, we got a hoops head in the chat. Jameson says Highsmith is going to play a lot tonight with no Jimmy. He's the wing defender for the Heat. Are we intrigued by Highsmith and maybe an increase in minutes there?
This is my way here. Yeah, I do think Highsmith is intriguing. I don't think he has the highest ceiling, but with Miami can get so strange with minutes that you can kind of get a decent ceiling with guys just out of nowhere getting 35 minutes. Highsmith, he's an interesting player. He was popping a little bit on our props page earlier for some rebound and assist numbers. So maybe the market's a little bit lower on him than they should be. I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. I just didn't end up finding myself landing on him in too many, but it's an intriguing play with Miami's, vacillating minutes that they do down there.
Sure. Get some boards, get some stocks, get some layups and see what happens. FanDuel single entry question for you, Kirkwood. Pritchard or Russell? I had the same question. Pritchard or Russell?
I think Pritchard beats him tonight, so I'm going to say Pritchard, but I think it's really close, and I think you can use both of them too.
Okay. Kirkwood, we're going to the basement here. We're cellar dwellers, util, DK cash, 3,300 or less.
I know we got some I hate these 3,300, like the salaries are less because I gotta do.
Is it hard to look it up?
Yeah, it is. But
okay. Jim,
go ahead. Yeah, I'll let Jim take it.
Jim, you got anything 3,300 or less on DK at the util? Any position?
There is not a lot out there. You could try to shoot the moon with Taylor Horton-Tucker. With Kobe White out, he might potentially get some more minutes. And then you could go with Jordan Walsh. It kind of feels like Jordan Walsh kind of smells like the guy who starts and plays 10 minutes, and it's like everyone fell for the trap and he doesn't actually do anything. I think I'd rather go with Taylor Horton-Tucker.
I got a sneaky one.
Yeah, let's hear it, Kirkwood. What do you got?
This may absolutely bust, but there's upside here. It's Alec Burks.
Any reason?
Because with the Heat being thin, like they're going to need scoring against the Celtics. He fits like he can score. So I just think he could get more minutes tonight. He could absolutely play like less than 10 minutes and totally bust you. So just know what you're walking into. But if you want to take a chance,
I'm going to second that. Like kind of what I was just saying about the Miami minutes. Sometimes guys out of nowhere can go for there. If Burks hits like 2 threes in the first half and they just keep him rolling out there, I like that as a GPP play.
Yeah. Okay. We are quickly approaching lock. Don't forget though, the show does not end at lock. We're going to go past lock. And then we're going to bring in some guys who know about football. And then, well, not that you guys don't know about football, but we're going to bring on a couple more guys, switch out hosts, and keep talking. So do not go anywhere. Let's see what else we've got. Jim, large field tournament on DK, 4,500 left at util. Currently considering Russell. Yeah. What? Yeah.
Yeah. I would lock that in. Definitely.
Yeah. That is the right choice. Let's see. Steve, what time do we have the show shift happening? We got a few minutes here.
Well, we hit lock right now, so
waiting on.
I see Chop Daddy's here, waiting, ready to get rolling. The best showdown, one of the best showdown analysts in the business.
Chop has won quite a few millions of dollars doing showdown content, so he is certainly the guy that you want hanging out here. We got Gabe Vincent as a name thrown out at 3,300 on DK. Is this the same Miami Heat? Who knows? Kind of play.
LA now. I think it's a Reeves play. I think the thought is if Reeves is out, we'll get some minutes.
Oh, is Gabe? Where's Gabe Vincent? I thought he was on the Heat. No, am I wrong?
He's probably the safest of the 3,300 or below plays. Like he should get at least 20 minutes, probably somewhere around there. I think I like that play for 3,300.
There you go. Okay, shout out to Kelly Crane in the chat, dropping that name. Eric says, Kirkwood, why is DeJounte projected so low owned? It's a revenge spot. What am I missing?
Because he's been bad, real bad. He's coming back from he's coming back from an injury, and it's also a back-to-back. But we know what he's capable of, so
yeah. Also, no one cares that it's a revenge spot. Like the projections don't care, and the ownership essentially just mirrors projections. So all the narrative stuff that's so fun to talk about, the truth is nowadays 95% of players just hit the optimize button, and projections don't care about revenge narrative. So that's why no one cares that it's a revenge spot, except for like me and Kirkwood. And you, Eric Johnson. Jim, are you in the revenge narratives? Are you in the narrative streets?
I'm in the narrative streets when I want to be.
Yeah.
I am very picky with it, but I like pick and choose my players that I think will care about it, and I do think Murray is actually the type of player who would care about it. So I'm in those streets tonight.
Yeah. People always say, do narratives matter? Like, right? Like, and the one game you can always like point to as proof and say, yes, like Kobe's last game. It's like these players can do anything they want. Like basketball is the one sport where like one guy can take all the shots, right? Like if the teammates want to do it, if he wants to do it. So absolutely narratives matter.
If people are calling a big man lazy and he's not rebounding enough, like he can put in extra effort and go down there and bang and get more boards. Like that effort matters. Shot selection matters. Narratives to me do really matter. In baseball, not so much.
There's just not enough opportunity, right? You're getting four little at bats, but like you can't control it if the pitcher's even going to throw you something to hit. You know?
Right. I'm with you on that. Hey, guess what? I do believe we've got the crew coming in here. Showdown Slate crew just arrived. Let's bring them on. Oh, buddy, that's a motley crew. We got Chop, we got Beer, we got two of the sharpest NFL minds in the biz here, walking us through a little Monday Night Football. How you guys doing?
What up, ladies? How y'all doing? Little basketball lock for you?
Yeah, it's about what I expected. Good to have you, Chop. I was talking you up. I said you won millions of dollars. You have won the millie before, right? I'm not making that up on a showdown, right?
No, never on a showdown, sir.
It wasn't on a showdown?
Nope. Main slate.
Tonight's the night, Chop.
There you go.
I don't think that's happening. But
yeah, all right. Well, perhaps I was just forecasting the future. We got Beer as well. Beer, I got to tell you, I love your six-pack that you do. It's something that I watch routinely. It's just such a good way to get a general idea of whatever slate it is, get an idea of the value. And I just want to let you know, I watch those all the time, and I think they're fantastic.
Appreciate it, my man. Love doing them. So keep watching them.
I will.
Before I leave, I just want to warn you, Beer. Don't get a little too close to Roth, because apparently he went to bed thinking about me before bedtime. He said,
"Oh boy, oh boy."
I don't think Chop heard that, so I wanted Chop to hear that one. Yeah, I know.
Really getting taken out of
blew me away the same way.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna have to rewind the tape. So Rod had an erotic dream about Kirkwood.
I didn't say erotic.
What in the world?
It's just so out of context now. With that, I think we're going to turn it over. I'm going to get out of here. I'm just turning beet red. We're going to hand it over to two of the sharpest NFL minds in the biz. Do not go anywhere. Give these gentlemen the thumbs up. Hit us with the subscribe as well. And make sure you're signing up for RG Premium. You got those Cyber Monday deals going on right now. Chop, Beer, take it away.
Thanks, Roth. Thanks, Kirk. Jim, we appreciate it. Now, to the NFL that the NBA has locked, it's time to get into some showdown, Beer. It's me and you, brother. We're going to go at this thing for about roughly 20, 25 minutes or so. Figure out what we're going to do here on this showdown slate. We got a pretty interesting game tonight. As always, Chad, get your questions in for the NFL now. We're going to answer them all as we break this thing down. So, Beer, how's it hanging today, man?
It's going, man. Thanksgiving, always interesting weekend, the different slates, the holidays, the travel. So, it's nice to kind of settle back in, and a decent game tonight. I'm not going to say this is a great game, but I think there's a lot of interesting ways that you can build here tonight. A lot of cheap flyers you could take. We're going to talk through them all, but I'm good, my man. How are you? How was your holiday?
Holidays. It was
I know you love Thanksgiving, so
Thanksgiving's not a bad holiday. It's a pretty good one with everything that goes on, but it was some, I don't know, it was a little bit odd this year. I don't know. I felt some weird vibes in the family room. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm missing something, but it was it was what it was. Maybe it was just that the Cowboys stink this year and everybody was thrown off by that. Not a normal Thanksgiving, but I love the holiday because it's here, and then when it leaves, you've got this month to look forward to until Christmas. It's the best month of the year, man. people start putting up their lights. You can watch the movies now, the good Christmas movies.
Oh yeah.
Listen to the music. I enjoy the music. I love the lights when I'm taking my walking my dog at night, so I love this month. And then it all kind of crescendos on Christmas Day when that's over with. And it's kind of like, oh no, I got to wait another year. But that's why Thanksgiving is good, because you have that month to look forward to. And so I enjoy it. But we're talking, the game tonight isn't necessarily like super intriguing, but I think the pieces in this game are intriguing in that Denver has kind of come out of nowhere. Since about the second or third week of the year, they're a legit playoff contender now. They're not a championship contender or anything like that, but they're riding this rookie quarterback. He's playing good, and they're a contender of some sorts. I'm not gonna lie. I completely wrote off Sean Payton after last year, thinking he was completely washed and
hard
everything.
not to.
Yeah, but he's got these guys in a position. Cleveland with Jameis is always interesting to watch on a game. So I like to have an island game where we can just focus on Jameis, because he can do anything, man. He could go either end of the spectrum. He could be great and lead this team to a win, or he could absolutely get benched in the third quarter, having thrown 5 picks. 2 of them were pick sixes or something like that. So it's always fun. But again, guys, get those questions in so we can answer them. We'll talk about some players, walk you through some stuff. Speaking of that, Beer, we got about a 6.5 point spread right now, I'm seeing. Roughly 41.5 is our total. You got any leans on that thing for the betting crowd?
Spread looks about right. That one I'm leaving alone. I do think that we could get some scoring in this one. So over is my lean in the betting market. We'll give you some props as well as we go along here. I mean, Denver should win this game and should win it handily, but you just mentioned the wild card that is Jameis Winston, who can play well enough even against this defense to keep them in this game. So, if it was 5, I'm on Denver. The 6.5, I'm probably leaving that alone. Just in case Jameis does show up. I do like the over here, though. I think both offenses should be able to find some success here. That's why I'm intrigued by this slate. There's so many ways so many situations we're going to talk about. Denver running backs, Denver wide receivers. There's 5 of them. Cleveland tight ends. There could be multiple there. So it's a fun game. It's not a 50-point total and highlighted stars everywhere, but it should be a fun game and lots of ways to build them DFS line.
All right, so let's start talking about some of that right now. I want to talk about those receivers for Denver now. I think Courtland Sutton has kind of settled into the alpha role here, and we know that. But on a week-to-week basis, it is not just him that does well. He always finds somebody else to get the ball to that has a pretty decent week, especially we're dealing with showdowns, not main slates. So even that 6, 7, 8 point performance could end up in the optimal at some of these price tags. Talk to me about those Denver receivers. Who's your favorite guys?
That's what's intriguing is the secondary guys. You guys already know Courtland Sutton, great. The number one, been doing fantastic over the last month. He's phenomenal, but it's these cheaper guys, I think, is where this tournament will be won tonight. So I'll start with Von Vele, a guy that's playing a lot of slot for this team. The targets have been there, production been up and down, but he's a guy I trust the most here. Then you get into some of the other guys, and that's where it gets interesting. Marvin Mims, is this a game they're going to design touches, get him going, give him a couple end arounds, things like that. Troy Franklin and his connection with Bo Nix back to Oregon, big playability. So these guys, I think I want to mix and match plenty. Captain, I don't know that you need to go there tonight, but it's certainly an intriguing build. When you throw one of these guys in the captain spot, you can pretty much layer the lineup with whatever else you want. So those builds are not off the table tonight. My favorite is Vele. I do love some Troy Franklin as well. It seemed the ownership, Chop, he seems to be the guy that's getting forgotten here in that kind of middling price range at 3,000. He's showing right now amongst the lowest owned on this slate. So Franklin, one of my favorites here tonight as well.
Yeah, and then when we flip it around to the other side, Jameis is kind of similar in that he spreads it around too. He's been spreading it around. Now they're a little bit short-handed tonight. I'm not even sure that's enough really to drive a whole lot to one guy specifically. I think it's a big spread out mix, but We've seen, okay, you like some narratives. You want some narratives. We've seen Jerry Jeudy's been getting a lot better lately, right? He's looked a lot better. And now he's facing Denver again, the team that ran him out of town. Talk to me about Jeudy and then these other pass catchers for Cleveland that might be catching your eye.
So I'm normally a big revenge narrative guy, but this one I'm struggling with. And you look at some of the props. His prop is now under 60 receiving yards. He has been great. 70 or more receiving yards in 4 straight games. He is the number 1 target. Patrick Surtain is no joke. I mean, there's a handful of guys that you can count and say, yes, I'm mostly avoiding this guy. So as much as I love to play into revenge narratives, Judy's a guy I'm going to go underweight on tonight and mostly avoid. If it burns me, so what? Remember, one of the keys to Showdown, you can't cover everything. You can't play every guy. You have to take some stands, whether it's right or wrong. That's how you play this game. Judy's one of those guys that I'm mostly going to avoid and hope it doesn't blow up in my face with as well as he has played. So that leads you to who else on Cleveland do you like? 2 guys stand out for me. David Njoku, I think, bounces back. Tough game in the snow. Before that, the targets were there each and every week from Jameis Winston. And then Jamari Thrash, a guy that I'm sure you can give us a nice scouting report on, thrived at Louisville. So $1,000, I think he's a guy. My question to you, do we dare go down even further and roll the dice with the man known as Kadarius Toney?
Man, if you're asking me that and it's a yes or no, it's definitely a no for me.
I'm a no. I saw some talk out there. I'm like, I don't know that I want to go.
It's always like very intriguing to see a $200 player and what he opens up for you. I get it. But how much cheaper do you really need to go tonight than $1,000 Jamari Thrash? Do you really need anything less than that? We don't have massive price tags on any of these guys. This isn't a Lamar Jackson showdown where he's $12K and you got to squeeze him in and you need all that. Like the highest priced guy tonight is, I believe, is Jameis Winston at 96. That's not that much. So
no. The other problem is we could see a lot of 2 tight end sets without Tillman. We saw more Akins in there. So Akins, a guy even in that $2,500 price point, I think is a lot more intriguing than going down to Toney. Like I said, Thrash is about the lowest you need to go. Some lineups you don't even need to go that low, but Akins another one who has looked good with his opportunities. So even playing both of those tight, and we know Jameis Winston loves targeting the tight end. So Akins another intriguing name. The only one we didn't mention, Elijah Moore. I think he's solid. DraftKings more so for the PPR upside, but I prefer Njoku going down the Thrash, mixing a little bit of Akins.
Yeah, agree on that stuff. Let's see. QQ for DK, GPP, large field. As your captain, do you want Knicks or do you want Winston?
I'm more so Knicks, but I get the enticement of Jameis Winston in that spot. Knicks is going to be by far the highest owned captain tonight. We're showing upwards of 30%. So, anytime a showdown, there's a captain of 30%, GPPs, I kind of want to flip the build a little bit. Not that I won't have any Knicks. I've already built multiple Bo Nix lineups, but I think in a big field tournament like this, Winston, we know, has the upside. And this is the perfect, like you said in the beginning, a guy that can get you 35 or 5. We love the chase that ceiling. I think Winston makes a lot of sense in GPPs tonight in that captain.
Thoughts on little Jordan Humphrey on DraftKings?
I prefer Franklin Mims, but he's right in that same bucket. Again, taking shots in these guys. I think this is where this tournament is won tonight. Hitting on the right cheap Denver receiver. I'll even put Vele in there, not as cheap as the other guys, but hitting on one of these guys that's going to do something outside of what Cortland Sutton's going to give you. So I don't mind mixing them in. I prefer Mims. I prefer Franklin, but he's right there as well.
Yeah. We got somebody 4 under making a comment. Thrash is trash. I tend to disagree with that. I think the guy needs a chance to play. He's got some skills. He's got some physical skills. So just needs a chance to play. Toney catches one ball and breaks free. He breaks the slate. Thing about it, Toney is like he's been at a couple different stops now in his young career. One of them happened to be with the best quarterback in the game, and he still couldn't do anything. So I'm just kind of out on Toney, I think, but I get it. So Carolina guy back here with he's our FanDuel, specialist here. He wants to know your favorite DK MVP and single entry MVP, like two different, the large field and the single entry on FanDuel. What do you got?
Knicks is my favorite, but let's give you some options outside of that because again, he's going to carry pretty heavy ownership. So if it's not Bo Nix, I'm going Cortland Sutton in that spot or Jameis Winston. Again, you flip the build. Sutton's put some big games on the board. You can still have Nix in that utility spot and just hope he doesn't go crazy. But I think Sutton's the way to go in that spot. And we'll talk some running backs, Chop. And this is not a running back friendly. Neither team our guys are excited about, but I do think could be a good spot for Javonte Williams. 6.5-point home favorites. Yes, it's a 3-man backfield. You never know where it's going to come from, but nobody's going to want to play him. So FanDuel with the touchdowns, they get ahead, they run the ball a little bit. Javonte Williams could be a very low-owned captain with 2 touchdown upside.
So I'll throw a name out there for, let's say you're playing on FanDuel and it's that, I guess tonight is $5 or something where you can win $50K, $100K. So you're battling like everybody and you're trying not to have duplicate lineups, all that kind of stuff. I'll just throw this name. I know it's not, the projections are going to scream not to play him, but I'll throw Nick Chubb out there as a captain because just in case, like I know he's coming back from the brutal injury. I've never seen a guy respond from injury like Nick Chubb, though, by the way. Like he's really, his body just bounces back. His body bounces back every single time. So I'm not going to put it past him to already be ready to take on a bigger load. What if the game script gets in his favor and you know what he can do, man? He's so talented. Just never know. So, I mean, I'm talking about the $5, got to beat out 150,000 other teams and you don't want to duplicate. I'd put Nick Chubb in that MVP spot. But
yeah, we'll tie this into these questions from Eric Johnson. Is fading Chubb the right call? I'm with you in a big field, FanDuel only. I'm not playing him on DraftKings. He's expensive. He doesn't catch passes. It's the touchdown upside that we want. So as a contrarian option in a big field tournament, I think he's in play, but mostly fading him. That's what I'm doing tonight. I don't have a ton of Chubb. You know, the props don't look great. Again, the pass catching work isn't there. So, and he also has to be fading Chubb. Are you playing Jerome Ford? I think that makes sense. You know, if you're fading Chubb, they're likely playing from behind, leads to more Ford catching passes out of the backfield. So that one more intriguing on DraftKings for that pass catching upside.
And I agree. I'm also fading Chubb on DraftKings for the most part. He's sprinkled in there, but it's definitely not anything I'm putting in the captain or playing overweight. He's there. I agree with all that stuff. Let's see here. Any more questions? Let's pull up SimLabs real quick. Let's do a little walkthrough here. You can see some of the stuff going on there with the optimal versus projected ownership and how that's going to play out. But let's talk about some settings tonight. Let's go large field settings right there. Let's click on large field and results range, probably medium-ish.
Yeah, I'd say medium, just because there's so many good options in the cheap seats. So let's get a look at some more options.
Let's go to we can pull up the lineups if you want. We can do that too. Did you have any special advanced settings, Beer, you like for tonight? Any kind of like you want to go over correlation, over the extra correlation, or anything like that, or are you just letting it ride with the standard settings?
I ran them earlier, and usually I'm kind of sliding those things around a little bit. Tonight, I mostly stayed in near what it gives you. I always move upside up a little bit, but not some of the major changes we made in weeks past. So this is fine. All
right, Steve, pull up the exposure tab up there, and let's see what those 20 lineups spit back to us. If you scroll up to the top there. Yeah, over here. All right, what we got? Oh, okay. A lot of majority Bo Nix captain. I get it. That's going to be the chalky. But a lot of Cortland Sutton because you got to pair your quarterback's got to be in there with somebody. So I get all that. That's an awful lot of a defense right there. What do you think? And I mean, you're playing against Jameis, so it could certainly pay off. What do you think about that defensive exposure right there? How much of it is that too much, or what do you think?
I like Denver's D. I get why it's a good play, but ownership is going to be probably pretty heavy on them tonight. So I will have some, but I'll probably be under the field a little bit. In fact, I think the Cleveland defense that nobody wants to play again could make some sense here. So, cash games, you need that price point. I'm okay with Denver. Tournaments, I expect them to be one of the highest owned defenses of the season here against Jameis Winston. So you hope he minimizes mistakes. They don't get a big play. There's a lot of people sitting there wondering why they played the D, and it's not a cheap price point either here on Denver tonight. So it makes sense. I get why it's up there. I get the exposures and why SimLabs is giving us that, but it's one that I'll probably avoid as well.
I actually like the Cleveland defensive call just for the fact that, number one, you've got the best defensive player in the NFL in Myles Garrett, and they're facing a rookie quarterback. Now, at some point, he's been good. At some point, I think maybe the other shoe will drop at some point, and, you never know if it's going to be tonight. And so I don't mind that defensive call. Looking at these exposures it gave us, is there anybody in there that you would rather ratchet up in the exposure tab, or we talked about the pass catchers. We're getting around 28% here on this build with Judy and Njoku. Anybody too far overweight or too far underweight in your liking?
I would bump Njoku up. What do we got? 28%. Again, he's probably my favorite Cleveland pass catcher. We had a question about Elijah Moore at captain. If you don't like Judy, I think Njoku or Moore makes sense. If this game plays out as we expect, Denver plays from a lead, Jameis is winging it all over the place, they're shutting down Judy, these guys should benefit. So the problem with Elijah Moore is the upside. We know he can rack up receptions, and is he going to find the end zone? Is he going to give you multiple touchdowns? That's where I think Njoku can still give you that 6, 7, 8 catches, find the end zone a couple times. So I prefer him in the captain, but I understand the Elijah Moore love. Other than that, Thrash is probably a little bit low. I know there's people nervous about him, but $1,000 receiver potentially playing from behind, doesn't have to go against Surtain. They got some injuries in that secondary. He's probably a little bit too low. It's one of the better values to me on the season. Could be a zero. I mean, that's what you get with $1,000 receivers, but I do think this kid has some talent as well.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. A good Hammer says good place for kickers with the light air tonight. How's the weather looking out there? I didn't even check the Roth report today, but
I have not looked at. I don't think there's any conditions that are crazy. But the
altitude.
Did you see
that Buffalo game last night?
Yeah. That was something else. So
now, if you saw those pictures pregame, would you play kicker and showdown if it looked like that?
I would not.
Okay. So, and we're in Denver. I need to check the weather, but I don't think I've seen anything that. Yeah, it is typically, Hammer, a good place for kickers, though. The light air, ball travels a little bit more. Just double check the weather there. Question for you: Thrash or Akins on DK?
I like them both. I prefer Thrash slightly. I think he's just going to be out there more. But again, we could see them running more 2 tight end sets like we saw after Tillman went down. So Akins probably a little bit sneakier. If you're worried about Thrash's ownership getting out of hand, then Akins could be the way to go. But I do like them both. Both are big parts of my builds.
All right, we got about 4 minutes until we get out of here. So in a couple minutes, we'll break off our Plums play of the night. But first, I want to talk about some player props, because that's the thing, nice and easy. If you don't want to play DFS, let's rock some player props. Talk to me. You got anything for tonight? You got a couple players for tonight you really like? Anything lined up here?
Yeah, so my biggest stances are Njoku. I got him at 47.5 receiving yards. Again, I think he bounces back. It's easy to look at that box score and say, oh, he sucked last week. The weather was bad. It was just a nasty game. So I'd expect them to get back to getting him the ball a ton. So I like him. I mentioned Vele earlier. His props kind of come up throughout the day. I was in at 37.5. That has gone up some, but I still like that. And then Franklin, his number way down there at 15.5. There's plus odds on a 20-yard reception, 30-yard reception. We know he can make those big plays down the field. So those three stood out to me. And I don't mind a Jerry Jeudy under. We're going to fade him. I think fading him in the prop market, that number's dropping as well. But that's another bet I placed earlier today at 61.5 on the under.
Here's one for you. Is catching my eye. I'm interested. Want to hear your opinion on Jameis Winston over under 0.5 interceptions.
Over.
You think so too? It's Jameis, man.
Let me guess. I have not looked at that one, but I got to guess that thing's got to be minus 150 at least on the over.
It's a little bit juiced. But yeah, I'm finding it interesting. So let me put in Franklin and Njoku. I like that one. and then find something else for that. But I think those are some good props. Let's see here. Let's go for it, man. We got about 3 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes. Let's do our plums play of the night and see if we see. I can feel it in my plums, man. And I'm gonna let you have the floor first, and so I don't steal your guy. But I got a feeling you are gonna take my guy, but it's okay. Go ahead. You're feeling in the plums play of the night. Who you got?
I'm probably not going to take your guy here. And the Denver's too easy to me. Bo Nix, Sutton, easy play. I'm going to go to the Cleveland side. I think David Njoku lands in the winning lineup tonight. I don't mind him as a captain. Again, he gives you that upside of the receptions, the yards that Moore gives you, but much more touchdown equity with them throwing a lot. They look for him in the red zone. I think David Njoku lands in the winning lineup, and I'm feeling it in my plums, Chop.
No, you took my guy, and I knew, but that's okay. I had a feeling you were going to do it, but I like him too. I like him a lot. I think he's the best Cleveland player tonight, basically. Bang for your buck, for your dollar. So I'll go on the other side. I'll go on Denver. I'm going to take a chance then. I'm not going to give you the layup is Courtland Sutton, of course. He's been awesome this year, man. He's got a real connection with Bo Nix. So I'll give you that. So I'm going to go down the ladder here and go a little bit cheaper and a little bit GPP centered. It's Marvin Mims Jr. He's an electric kid with the ball in his hand. They've been finding ways to try to get him the ball recently, more than just throwing it to him. They've been trying to give him some handoffs, some jet sweeps and things. Just get the ball in his hands. I got a feeling, man, if he gets into the open field, the kid's electric. He's going to go for that price tag. That could be the one. So I'm going Marvin Mims to hit the end zone. Pay dirt tonight, hopefully from a long ways out. But I think that's it, man.
Love it. Now, back to the Denver D. Mims and the Denver D, I think make a lot of sense. So if you are going to play them, I would slide him in there. It doesn't cost you a lot. Kind of saves you some of the salary on that Denver D, but the little double banger there.
Real quick, Andrew A says, I need help in my Pick'em league. Tied for first this week. Need to know some total predictions. I got 46. I'm
okay with that. I would be right in that range. I do like the over on this number that's out there right now. So if I had to say a number, it'd be 45. So you're right there at 46.
Okay. Beer says it. So that's gonna do it. So Beer, you got anything before we get out of here, man?
No, I'm excited DFS wise for this one. Hopefully we get good Jameis and not bad Jameis. And we're season's running out here, man. I can't believe week 14 right around the corner.
Yeah, it's another showdown. It's a good game. These things are gonna fly by, guys. College football is almost over, so the next step is for NFL to be over. So enjoy it while it's here. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday with another show for some more questions to be answered. Until then, that was Beer, Steve behind the scenes. Good luck in those GPPs tonight. I'm your host, Chop, and we're out of here.